So guys, today we wanted to talk about the change of condition, but also I want to give you an update about the things that we have done and new features that we've released in the last couple of months, but also what we're working on for the next couple of months. So that's at high level, the agenda for today. If we can go to the next slide. From the change of condition point of view, we're going to talk about how you can build and customize your own workflow for change of conditions. We're going to talk about why we believe if you ever wanted that to happen to devolve or allow the managers to submit the change of condition themselves, why we feel that you can now do that in Martial Logic. And part of that is the data segregations or the data privacy for a manager not to be able to see what their peer perhaps is earning or people above them, etc. We want to talk about that, how we now have the solution, and the focus on the remuneration part of that change of condition, because clearly it's the most important aspect of whether you're recruiting or doing employee updates or what we call change of staff conditions. Cool. So, and then as I said, we'll spend about 15-20 minutes talking about new features we've released in the last couple of months and we are releasing in the next couple of months. So in saying that, let's get going. What is the change of condition? How many people have used or are using a change of condition? If you don't mind, can I please get a
poll for that as well?
You've got a poll? Let's put it up now, or maybe just put in the chat, yes or no kind of thing. If you're using it, maybe put in chat yes. Are you sure you've got the poll?
Yeah, we've got the poll up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind, please, so I can get an idea about the depth, and if, I don't want to do a silly intro if everybody's using it. No need for the intro then. Do you know what I mean?
So everybody's still answering right now.
Okay.
So there's quite a few saying yes.
Okay.
But mostly no.
Okay, cool. So we definitely need an intro. So as you know, guys, the request to hire or the requisition, we did an amazing job when we released it at least the second time about 7-8 years ago, and every single enterprise client that we have uses it and they really value it, and we continue to improve on it. And the major project that we did for the to be able to capture the agreements such as your awards and your bands, etc., was all related to the change of condition, if you like, to make sure that the managers don't need to wouldn't make mistake, or it's not difficult for them to know which award and which level, and all that stuff was all part of that initiative to allow you to create the awards and to capture your awards and link the awards into your positions, and finally at the request to hire, it's all there. So this is all part of our commitment to the requisition. But about 3 years ago, it became very clear every client was asking us they want something similar, which is an agile, easy to use, easy to customize form, and the rest of the bells and whistles around it to build a process and a workflow for employee update, as opposed to just the request to hire. And we thought initially it was going to be an easy one because we have something really flexible and enterprise grade. We'll be able to customize it quickly for that purpose. And as a matter of fact, a lot of our clients were doing that themselves. They went ahead and used the request to hire for the purpose of, repurposed it for the purpose of change of condition, and many still probably doing that now. But we recognized that it wasn't good enough. A lot of work had to be done to make it fit for purpose properly. And so we took on the project of restructuring the infrastructure that's delivering the product, which is the request to hire, to allow it to be just as supportive for the initiative of the change of condition. We recognize that the change of condition, it can't just be saying to you, can you approve paying this person 100K? You need to be able to say, look, this person is currently doing this position and they are on $90,000, and I am proposing we want to give them a pay rise to 100,000. You need to give enough context for the approval. And that was the main change that was needed. It's different. as opposed to just one information saying we want to hire someone for 90K or 100K, to use the same example. Here you want to say, be able to say, this employee is currently, this is his current situation, and we are proposing these changes. Can you please approve these proposed changes? So the context is different, and you will see that in a sec if you haven't seen it. So we went ahead and made the changes, started about 3 years ago, and we did a really good job. In the last 6 months, we recognized that and came from a client in particular that drove it a lot, which is Auto League in Perth, and I'm immensely grateful to their commitment to continue for the platform to really be the best it can be. They insisted that, look, the change of condition form is a bit too difficult when it comes to interacting with the remuneration. The manager is going to find it not as intuitive. Can we do something about it? So we went and did serious R&D to clean it up, to make it really intuitive. The other part, or the pushback that we've gotten for a long time, is we have the org chart. The managers, I want the managers to be able to go to the org chart, they go to their branch, and here's my employees, here's one of them, I want to do some updates on that, I want to do some change of condition, I'll submit the request to be approved. That's all great, but I don't want that manager to be able to go into other nodes, especially their peers and the people above them, and be able to somehow find out how much that person might be paid. So that data segregation, data privacy. We had the so-called bucket system. We were able to provide a good solution for all clients that wanted that, but really wasn't as intuitive and as good as it can be. And this is what we are working on right now. That's the good news. That will be delivered by next Friday to allow you to, in the org chart, a simple role for a manager that says, they can only access their own employees. So that manager goes into the org chart, they click on a node. Unless that node is part of their hierarchy, part of their branch, they will not be able to drill into any aspect of it. They can't go into the employee. I'll probably show you. So in the org chart here,
share your screen.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Beautiful window, and that's the window. Share. Cool. So what you want is when this manager logs in, if they go to this node, all they can see is just this node like that. They can't drill into anything. They can't go into this menu and click on anything in here. They can't go into the employee record, which is I was able to, but they won't be able to. So you want to only be able to access all the records all the way through the hierarchy. It doesn't matter how many tiers. Nevertheless, only in that branch. Think of it as a branch. So we're going to have a role literally that just like that out of the box. You can say, yeah, I want the manager to have this kind of access. That's it. As a matter of fact, every probably hiring manager by default will have only this access unless you decide you want to give them more. So that's really good news. And that's what I meant before. It is a bit of an ecosystem that needed to be developed for HR to be comfortable to say, I can now let my managers come in and use this feature and remove that bottleneck from HR. And so we've been listening, we've been adding more and more to that ecosystem, if you like, and this data access or data segregation, if you like, a feature, it's a huge feature. We've been planning it very slowly. It's part of that ecosystem because that's what we've been hearing from you guys. So why don't we now go ahead and show you a demo of what is the change of condition. I've got here, I've set up the particular employee I want to do that. It's called Charlie. So I'm just going to search on Charlie. That helps me to navigate straight to Charlie. I can just open the nodes under Charlie as well. So I'm gonna, I'm the manager. Let's say in this case, I'm Catherine, or I'm HR. It's really entirely up to you guys. I'm not suggesting anything the way you want to use the change of condition, but I'm just saying if you would like to allow the managers to do this function themselves, then this is how it would work. So if I'm a manager, if I click anywhere here, that's all I can see. All I can see is Catherine and produce the information on this node. They cannot drill any further. However, under here, they can navigate and drill and do whatever they want to do on the employees under them. So what I want to do, if Catherine now want to do an employee update on Charlie, she would click on this expand for more details, the menu, and she will click on, that's the menu that comes up. She will choose change of conditions / crossboarding. And this is the first page that comes up as in that wizard. It allows you to, if you want to not only make an update, but also you want to move Charlie to a different team. So meaning the reporting line. So this basically says, this is the reporting line, it's Catherine. Do you want to change it? You tick that if you want to change it, and you start to type who the manager is and auto completion or selection or whatever, which is really cool. Otherwise, you just leave it as it is and keep going to the next page. This shows you if you have multiple workflows. I've only got one, so it was selected already. I'll just keep moving. And we will go and have a look how I've built the workflow clearly. So now it brings us into this workflow that I've built, and we will go to the admin and have a look how you can customize it. And this is the main difference, folks, that I talked about why the change of condition is so different from the technology point of view to the request to hire, because you are making a change to an employee. You want to know who the employee is, and you want to know who they report to. And also you want to see what their current, on the left-hand side here, what their current situation is. That's the current position, department, etc. And whatever data that you're capturing against them, it's all custom stuff. And also in particular the money aspect of it. So at the moment, Charlie happened to be on level 1, and that's their salary. I'll just zoom a little bit there, and that's the hourly rate, etc. That's all there. You know which level, so they are part of an award system. And that's it. So that's the current situation. And now you want to make a changes here. You can change even the position name. I can remove it if you like, and start to type anything I might have. Or I can just keep it as it is, or select it back as a senior producer. Every field is you deem anything that when you customize this, which we will have a look in a sec, you decide what you want to be changeable, meaning on the right hand side it's editable. So I'm going to change it to this, or keep it as it is. I'm going to change the department slightly just to show you. These are buttons. I'm sorry, they're not coming up for some reason on this browser looking like a button. They look like a text box, but really what we're saying with the engagement is, do you want to start from what you've got here and maybe make the changes, or do you want to start from scratch, build it step by step from scratch? If you click on the yes, it literally copies what they have, and then you can make changes from here. So I can go now straight in here and say, okay, I want to do an override here maybe, or I want to choose a different level for this matter, and then do the override. I want to override it based on the salary, and I want to make it 121,000. And that's it. I've changed the level and I did an override, and it's all done. And in here now it shows me, you can see they are currently on level 1, they're level 3, but also there's an override. The original salary was adjusted to 121 as opposed to 118,560. Can I take some questions now before we go into the admin and show you how you customize that, which is a bit more heavy? This is sort of at high level, why the change of condition form is different and how it works. I'll take some questions, guys, if anybody has got any questions so far. We haven't submitted it yet, just to provide context. Typically, that would be the manager submitting this, but it could be that the HR submitting it, entirely up to you. But nevertheless, this is the process of submitting a change of condition for approval. Any questions at all?
We have a question from Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Is the override of the REM just updating for that person?
Oh yeah, yes. We're saying that this person is they are level 3 based on they experience and qualifications, etc. However, we need to be competitive. We like this guy too much, or we're not competitive in that particular location, a particular site in our business, or whatever. We need to be competitive and offer a bit more, and that's really what that is. It's just all pertaining to this particular change. There's nothing to do. You're not changing your remuneration. You're not changing your library. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Belinda has also asked, kind of related to Angela's, but how do you manage a salary increase for all staff?
Okay. This is something we've heard for a while now, and something that we're really taking seriously, especially because, I'm not sure, guys, if you're familiar. I don't want to really go there now, but we've had now for about 2.5 years at least, maybe 3 years, the bulk onboarding. It's a pretty solid piece where you can send a whole pack to a number of people, and that can have it's a whole pack, meaning you can have dynamic data in it, merge documents, can have videos, etc. A full pack. You can send it to multiple people, and it can all be dynamic and created one at a time, personalized and all that. So we're interested in that. Therefore, something we really want to take on. There are a few things that we need to do to make that happen. When you do an increase to multiple people, whether it's within this branch or whether it's across the board, or whether you go and pick like a shopping in terms of this employee create a list and say, for that list, I want to do this bulk sort of change of conditions. However, we need to allow you to do it in multiple ways in terms of identifying who you want to do the increase to. Nevertheless, it's in bulk. It's more than one person. We are 100% interested. I feel that there's a couple of things that we need to do, but certainly the bulk onboarding could be helping you right now. If you're not aware of that, get in touch after this and see if the bulk onboarding could, as it is right now, help you.
Very good. Another question from Renee. How do you assign permissions for who can approve the changes?
Oh, that's part of the admin that we will go into, which is that area here, how you can build your own workflow. One or more people, multiple ways. If you're familiar, the person asking the question, I'm sorry, what was their name?
That's Renee.
Renee. So Renee, we will go there in a sec, but nevertheless, just so you know, the same capability that you have right now with the request to hire, you know how flexible it is to build that workflow? It's the same capability you will be able to use here. So this particular workflow is designed to just have one approver, and it's basically saying you can pick from all the users, but you can make it, you can customize it to say only these are the group of people that can approve it, or the same capability from the request to hire. Does that make sense, Renee? Are you familiar with that?
She just said yes.
Cool. But we will go there in a sec.
Great. John has asked, can the award conditions be updated across the board based on the Fair Work National Award?
Sure. So this form, although it wasn't submitted, but I can come back to it and reopen it, so that's fine. So what I'll do, I'll close this for a moment. And you can see, by the way, it's reflected now that we have in draft mode a change of condition process happening here. And that's part of, I'm sorry, I can't help but you might be thinking I'm selling something here now, selling the org chart because I love it, and I'm more than happy to be branded like that. It's a badge of honor maybe, but I just really genuinely say that when we say that the org chart always stay up to date as opposed to after the fact you have to update it, that's just an example of that. No matter what you're doing, you're recruiting, you're onboarding, you're offboarding, you're doing change of condition, the org chart is always reflecting what's happening with that node. Nevertheless, I'll go straight to that point that was made. What we did here is when you go into any of your awards or any of your enterprise agreements or banding system, whatever it might be, you're able to do bulk. So if I go to this particular job family in this particular award, I can click on this and do bulk update and say increase it by 0.2% or 2%. And that tells you want to update all the columns by default. You say yes, and then it just confirming this is what you want to do, and it updates and done. It's pretty helpful, but we want to make it a bit more sophisticated going forward. But that's really came from our clients, and they're pretty happy with it, because I know the schools, for example, every 6 months they have to do about 2% increase or something like that. So that really helped them. They can now do it in a few minutes, and in an accurate manner as well.
Yeah. And that answers Mary's question as well. It's about the real time.
No worries. So I can go to the org charts, and guys, if you can see, just also I'm showcasing a feature along the way as well. I'm just can search on Charlie. Even if you have 500,000 people in your org chart, it's super snappy and fast. So I just start chart, and here they are. It's confirming even their position, etc. And I'll just select it. Boom! It takes me straight to there. Zooms on it, and if I want to now, I'll click on this to. Sorry, I'll click on this to open the nodes under them, and it's showing me here that there is, as we talked about, the change of condition happening. And if I click on this, I can go back into the open the approval to go back to where I was and pick it up from here. So this is here the effective date. When do you propose this to be effective? I'll say, on Monday the 19th, and save that. This form is customizable. You can have on it whatever you like. We will do that in a sec when we go to the admin. I just want to submit this. You can also put in their justification report why you're proposing these changes, just high level context, etc., that you feel you need to type. You can type it here, and we've got an option to submit it without approval or to send it for approval. And this can be customizable. If you would like to enforce it, that always has to go for approval, we can make that button disappear, or vice versa. In here, I'm going to choose an approver. I'll just choose myself as well, because I want to be able to approve it and not be stuck. And then I'm going to submit it for approval. So now it says it's pending approval, this particular process. So now what I'm going to do is I should have received an email to approve it. Here it is. I'll go in here, I'll click on it, and now I'm in the shoes of the exec who's approving this, and it looks very similar. Just, laying out all the information here, and justification report, I didn't type anything, and now I can approve it or I can reject it. I'm going to approve it, and done. So I can close this tab now and go back to this tab. If I was to refresh the org chart, just click on this thing here, find Charlie again. No, can't type today. Change of condition is approved. It's always up to date in the org chart. And so this will disappear on the effective date. But what you can do from here, if you need to send a contract, that will be, you'll continue on the next step from here. So start a pack process, and then you can pick the process that, whatever pack. From the pack system point of view, it really is the same thing, because merge document is merge document. So this contract is saying this is for the purpose of making updates on existing employees, got the tone of you're dealing with these employees versus your recruiting. But from our point of view, from the pack system point of view, it really doesn't care. So all the capabilities, what I'm trying to say, but it doesn't care, made it sound negative. It's flexible, what I meant by that, meaning all the capabilities that you know of now that you can use for the purpose of onboarding are available for you here, 100%, including the automation system that you can have for that particular change of condition pack to notify people, whatever you would customize all that, and the language and the email, instead of saying, welcome aboard or whatever, you'll clearly choose relevant language and all that. So all that, you customize that pack and boom, just select it and send it, and it's going to do the right thing. All the capabilities are available. We had to go back to that. That's when you might have noticed we changed the name of that section from onboarding to packs, because we knew that pack system had to be repurposed for more than just onboarding, for change of condition, for offboarding, for things like that. And we made sure it is built in a generic way that can be repurposed 100%. Every capability can be reused for that, for the change of condition purpose. So we're not going to get stuck on this. As I said, it is really 100% the same. There's nothing to explain that's specific to this piece. So if we find Charlie here, what we can do to shortcut this, I'm going to view packs, and I'm going to maybe complete the pack manually, just for the purpose of, click on the note, for the purpose of keep moving with this, not to have to send it and sign it and do all that. So if we go back now, it's all completed. The process is completed, and it's showing you that it's now pending the effective date. At the effective date, this will disappear. That's nothing to reflect in the org chart. It becomes like any other node on the effective date. And I click on this, and it shows me the effective date here. Gosh, we could have made that a little bit bigger, but yeah, effective date in 11 days, and it's the 19th. And to be honest, why don't we even show the effective date? Oh, sorry, guys. I do the pinching thing on my notepad. I'll just refresh the page. Where is the oh my god, my
zoomed out too far.
yeah, on the, not through the org chart, which is I should have been doing. I'm doing it on the pad with my laptop, and I don't know what's going on at the moment. Give me a sec. Okay, so if we just click on this, that will center everything. I don't know what was that. I just zoomed way out on the whole page, just got messed up. So I can find Charlie by just navigating or search on Charlie. I was just saying, you know, we should actually show the effective date here. We're using so much space to say pending effective date and not having a date in here. I think we can do this a bit better, but nevertheless, that was the effective date here. It tells you 11 days. You hover over, it tells you the exact date. So that's the change of condition. Now, we can take questions so far about what we demoed, or we can go into the admin part to show you how you build that form and customize that form. Which one do you want to do, guys? Any questions before we move to the admin part?
We might be safe to go through. No questions.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And the good news with the admin part is also it's what you're familiar with. So if you're one of the users who are admin and they've been, you know, involved in the request to hire, for example, where they know, okay, I can go to my account settings and I can click on approval workflows, and that would be my, you know, requisition form will be here, and this is where I would go into the requisition form to make any changes, or I can duplicate it and then make changes, and then when I'm happy with the new one, I've tested it, I'll remove the old one and put the new one in. It's the same thing. As you can see, when in the same listing in here, I've got a requisition form. You can see the type, regardless of the name, because the name is arbitrary, but the type is a new hire or replacement. This here is the type, it's change of condition. So when you're creating a new rec, you choose from a drop down, is it for the purpose of requisition, or is it for the purpose of change of conditions? Or is it for the purpose of offboarding or other, something that we don't even know you want to repurpose it for something in the business, we don't really care. You can use it like that as well.
Sorry, Alan, just before you go on, Jane has asked a quick question. Does the contract variation pack type only mean that? What about if someone has an existing contract but adds an additional one that does not vary the first one?
I don't think I understand the question. I'm sorry. So okay, why don't we to answer that?
Quickly, so she sort of further elaborated. So there's only new employee and contract variation.
Okay, let's go in there. I think to just make sure we're on the same page. So what you're saying is, if we go to pack templates, guys, and you want to create a new pack template, let's call it. Sorry, what was the name of the first name of the person asking? Jane. I'm going to call it Jane's change of staff condition. Create. And Jane, correct me on that. Is that what you're referring to? The types of the pack?
Yes.
Or am I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm literally thinking loudly here with you to make sure I understand the question and hopefully be able to address it. So we've got here induction, contract variation. Why we're not using the same language to start with, but yeah, it is the contract variation is the change of condition. And then you've got exit is the offboarding. So new employee is the a new employee, which is part of the requisition process, etc. The onboarding, in other words, and then you've got the contract variation is for the purpose of both cross-boarding and change of condition, and then you've got the exit for the offboarding. Does that make sense, Jane? Now at least we're on the same page. Is that the question, or now that we're on the same page, what is the question?
So she's gone, in HR speak, if you got an additional contract, you would not vary the contract.
Okay. It's just the type. I know what you mean, and I think really, to be honest, I got confused a little bit reading these types. Maybe we can at least make it consistent. Like we're using one language in the requisition form here in terms of the type. We use another language there. So I totally understand. I'm not defensive at all. I respect your point there. We confused you. But if I may just say, I think from the tech point of view, the type doesn't really matter. The user's not going to see the type, if you know what I mean. This is just internal, but I totally agree. We confused you there. We'll fix it up.
All right.
Cool. So we're back here. We're going to, just quickly create a new form from scratch, or we can just duplicate an existing one. You can see I've got one here. This is the one I was using. I can duplicate it and do that, or we could create a new one. So what we do, may as well just go into the one that we have, because as you know, even when it's live, you can add fields to it. You can't change the approval process though. So what we will do on this note, we'll duplicate it. It takes about 10 seconds if you're familiar with this, because it's duplicated all the custom fields and whatever. Here you go. And then we'll work with this one. So I'll go into it. It's still in draft. I can now do any edits I want. I'll call it webinar 8th of Feb, change of staff condition, and that will do. So this is exactly what I was saying before in terms of the form in here. There's a couple of changes you need to be aware of, so I'm glad we came here. But certainly what I was saying before is the same as the requisition in terms of you can add your own fields and use dependencies and all that powerful stuff that we have to build a coherent and easy to use form are available for you. All that power is available for you here. There's an additional interesting power I would like to make you aware of. So who has got some example of something that you would like to clarify when the manager is submitting to make it clear to the approver about things? I mean, can you come up with something, another question you would like it there, or something they need to indicate, guys? So we can build it together now. Real example.
Nothing coming through yet. Yep, we've got even just why is it changing?
Why?
Why is it changing?
Sure, let's do that. I just want to bring to your attention, we have the justification report that can be used for that purpose. But nevertheless, I think, you might argue, look, I want it to be part of the form instead of being arbitrary, because maybe I want to make it mandatory. Although we do have an option to make the justification report mandatory too, I have to say. But I'm with you. Let's do it together. So why is it changing? And maybe, yeah. So what we'll do it from scratch. We're going to create a new field, and we choose the field type to be text comment as opposed to just one line text box, the big one. We choose, and we call it why. Sorry, help me out. What would be the exact text for this? Why is this change, or why?
The reason for change.
Okay. The reason for this proposed change. Is that cool? You don't need a question mark, I'm sorry. So save it, and here it is. It comes up at the bottom. You can move it up and down using these arrows as business as usual. This is not a good example, but I'm going to show you what I mean by that with that. What the additional feature that's available here, as opposed to in the requisition, is you can go to this field and say, I want it to have it compare. That means you will see when we go to preview, for example, what that means. That preview is not doing it properly. The preview probably is not working for the change of condition. We'll go through it in a proper when we make it live in a sec. But what that enabled us to, do you remember how we talked about the left and the right, meaning current versus proposed? this is how you enable that. So for this field, let's see now it's in orange, the compare values is on. Otherwise, it's just one thing, one instance of it, as opposed to, current and proposed. That's your flexibility here. So it's really, really powerful. One of the things that we needed to do for this purpose. But the dependency is all available for you. For example, what you can do in here, let's do an example together. That would be pretty cool, I reckon. We're going to say,
Becky's asked to add who will they now report to?
Okay, well,
Report line.
sure. With this, it's really interesting. I 100% agree, and we will do it in a sec. Can I just point out first something there? When we are doing the change of condition, so we did that for Charlie. Let's say now we're going to execute that for Catherine, or even for Charlie. When we begin the process, it's not going to let us do another change of condition because the effective date hasn't happened yet, which is fair enough. So let's say we're doing it for Catherine. And when we start the change of condition right at the beginning, if you're doing it from the org chart, but nevertheless, your point's still valid because maybe you're not using the org chart yet. So we'll come back and do what you're suggesting. I'm not by any means undermining the point, but I just want to point out, if you're doing it from the org chart, that's already there. As a matter of fact, it's the first step. We say to you, okay, so this person at the moment reports to Aaron, who is the CEO. Would you like to change who they report to? I would like to change the report to person, and you start to type in here who you want it to report to, meaning you select the person, anybody in there, it's just auto completion, right? And that means you don't need to worry about that. It will be reflected at the top of the form. So I'll just, because I've messed it up, I'll just start again, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I did it that way, although Catherine reported to the CEO, maybe it's a bad example, not much room to move who she's going to report to. So maybe we'll see if we can do it here. The change of condition, and we say she's going to be reporting. Sorry, is she reporting to the CEO as well?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm picked up the wrong one as well. Apologies, guys. One sec, bear with me. All right, let's do this. I'll cancel this approval. Just bear with me for a second. No, that was the wrong one. We need someone. That was a vacant position. Sorry, guys. Okay. So what we want is someone perhaps here. Cool. So if we do Hillary, change of condition, and we say, okay, we want to move her from different team. She's going to report to someone else. Let's just have a strategy in place first. Who do we want her to report to? Hillary's now, we're going to get her to report to Percy. Okay, so we'll start this again. Change staff condition. Yes, I would like to change the report to person. Sorry, Percy. Restaurant manager, yes, and the same, that's fine. And right there, it's showing you that it's going to be she's going to be reporting to Percy. To your point still, we should probably highlight it to the approver. They need to know, listen, this is actually maybe a bit more significant because it's changing the reporting line. Although we have it there, but maybe it can be more highlighted to your point. And so, and as well, as I said, I'm still acknowledging your point in terms of if you're not using the org chart, you don't have probably all that in a sense. We will go through that scenario, but what we'll do, we will go back to the admin part. Just hear me out, guys, for 1 second. I'm going to do a field called if this change is over $30,000 per year, or is this change? Yeah. And it's a drop down. I'm just going to do yes or no. I know it's probably a silly example but because we show you the current and whatever, but just want to show you how the dependencies work. And so if I do that, then maybe the reason will come up, so I can create dependencies. So I'll move this up. So it's above it, and I'll go ahead and create dependency on this, and I'll go into dependencies, and I'll say it's going to be a hide, or even show. We'll do show, easier to understand. The operator doesn't really matter because one condition. Select specific option, and we select the this question, and we say show it if it's a yes, and we add this condition, and we save. And now what will happen? We will test it now. Let's make this live. We go back to here, and was Hillary the person we wanted to move? Yeah. So we will open the approval. It might do it. No, I think it commits to that form because it's already started. So I'll cancel the approval. Yeah, sorry, what I was going to do is go back and apply this to Catherine. Doesn't matter now. Change of condition. And because we have two forms now, we have to select which one. I'm going to select the new one that we just created. And here we have the question, should be here somewhere. Is this a change over 30K? And I'm going to say yes, then it's going to bring the reason. But do you remember, it doesn't make sense, the reason to have left and right, but I just turned that feature on for you to see part of the customization. That on the right doesn't need to be there. So that would be, then they have to provide the reason why, and it would be mandatory. So I'll go back here and say, no, we don't need the compare here. And if I go back and start this again, cancel. Select the form because we have two forms. As I said, you shouldn't have more than one form, but nevertheless, why did it stay there? Cool. So this particular thing that we did here now, it would be a bit better. We say yes, and there's only one box, and it's mandatory. You have to provide the reason. So that's a very simple example of what you can do on the form. But if you're one of the users that really have been playing around with the requisition for a while, there's so many things that you can do. It's very, very powerful what you can do on this form. Now we maybe jump to the approval part. So back in the admin here, you want to change your approval. If you're not familiar with this part, you can add more approvals. So for example, this needs to be GM level, meaning select the GM. GM, relevant GM. And this might be CFO, CEO, I don't know. And at every step along the way for all the approvers, there's tons of customizations you can do, but also dependencies. So for example, here with the 30K for that question, not only I can make this come up, and by the way, in the admin, it shows you there's dependency, that little logo comes there and it shows you what's going on. So there's a lot of features in this admin piece. So what I can also do is, for example, if it's more than 30K, I want the GM to be involved. Otherwise, they won't be in there. They get removed automatically, both the GM and the CEO. How do you do that? You click on this and you say, similar thing, I want to show it only if it's over 30K, if it's a yes. And I can do the same for the CEO. And now if we test it, there will be only one approver. I mean, it's called approver. It shouldn't be called approver. Maybe you direct report should be called, perhaps. and you can restrict it to a bunch of people as opposed to, you can select here a bunch of users. And they would be the only people they can select from, as opposed to any user. And you can select them automatically. There's a bunch of customizations you can do there, but we'll leave it as it is for now. Select any user, save. So only the direct report will come up. And because of the hierarchy, if you're using the org chart, very, very soon will be coming up that you can just have an option here that says go above the hierarchy. So you shouldn't even have to select. We know who the direct report is. That will be coming up very soon for both for acquisition or change of condition. But nevertheless, now you're going to select who you want, who needs to approve it, your direct report, and only the GM and the CEO will only come up if it's over 30K, because we built that dependency on it. Any questions?
Becky's also asked, can you add an end date for a change of condition? So if it's a secondment, for example.
It's a point that we've been talking to a few clients about it. We haven't implemented something like that yet, but we've added a few features that allow you to start to be able to do that. And I wish that Lewis was on the call. He was leading the R&D for a bunch of clients about this. I know that we've built already certain bits and pieces to allow you to do that. Maybe if we can take it offline and we'll bring Lewis on the conversation with the client and go through that. But it's a very good point. Thank you for bringing it up. We have 100% we want to be able to do that. So for example, when you're moving someone, what I mean by we built a few things like that, you want to be able to have the option if this person is, first of all, as part of the org chart, you're able to have that person in multiple positions. I mean, I'm sure you know that, right? In here. So the same person could be doing different positions in different teams. Could be the same position or completely different position title, different remuneration, different contract, etc. That's already available. That was part of these initiatives to allow something like that. Also, there was something along the line of, if I'm moving, I can't remember, meaning, if I'm moving someone from here to there, do I want to keep I can't remember, but we've done a few initiatives to allow you to do that, but we haven't gone as far as, creating specific thing about this kind of arrangement, I believe. But we're not far from doing it. So if it is a big priority for you, let's have a conversation to understand really what are the top priorities that need to be done. What's one or two things that still need to be done for you to start to use it at least.
Okay, so yeah, Becky, if you want to reach out, if that is a priority, we'll connect with you. Rani's asked if you have an employee under 2 contracts. So an example being a care service employee as a team leader.
Yeah.
Under the org chart, where will they fall under?
Yeah, no, they would be the same person, the same employee record will be linked into 2 different nodes, doing 2 different positions, reporting to different people. And in the history of the employee, there's a tab. If I go into this employee here, so Catherine could be in 5 different teams, different things. One of the stakeholders, I know this is across the board, but one of the stakeholders that we did a lot of that work for are the schools. As you know, private schools are a huge part of our client portfolio. And what they do, they've got, the concept of a leadership position on top of your normal day job. So for example, the maths teacher or the head of maths is also the coach for the cricket team and stuff like that. So that same person, then you come to the position history, you'll see in here all the different things they could be doing. So the same person, the same employee record is linked into different nodes. So for example, Catherine right now, she can be under this team here, under reporting to Percy, doing something. So it's completely part of the architecture of the org chart to allow that.
Excellent. Hopefully that helps there, Rani. Perfect. Yes, it has. Christy has asked, will you still be able to select the approver with the new direct report function coming soon? as it may not be the direct report approving it, for instance.
Would you be able to select the, I'm sorry, I might have missed that. The direct report, is that pertaining to what we did here? Or just happen to use that word in a generic way?
Yes, you mentioned a new feature was coming.
Oh, right. Meaning you shouldn't have to select direct, but if you're using the org chart, we should know 100%. It's a bit, I feel a bit ashamed that we haven't done it yet. Just so much priorities going on, and you have to sometimes pick your foot, but it's such a no-brainer. I totally agree with you. So thank you for the question. It's a small thing as well.
Then just another one from Mary. How do you cancel or make amendments to change a condition that is pending approval, or even if the employer has signed their variation?
The employer has already signed, and you want to now, you've decided there was an error?
Cancel or make amendments to it.
How does that work? So you've sent a new contract, you've had your changes approved by an exec, by your manager, and then you sent it to the employee, the contract, the new pack, whatever. They signed the contract, and then you decide, oops, we made a mistake. Can you give us a scenario, please? I'm sorry, it's just my lack of HR knowledge. I'm not an HR person. That will help me to understand the context better.
Don't know if you got a scenario, Mary, but it may well be that the executives have made a decision that they no longer require that person moving to a new role, or whatever it might be.
But if it's signed, can they do that? That's what I really would love some context. I just don't know. I'm really asking.
Perhaps the variation was to increase the FTE to 0.6, but then the managers decided to 0.65.
Oh, it's a positive. That's a great example. Thank you. So it is a plus, and therefore the employee going to welcome it, if anything, and everybody's happy, but it needs to be done. Well, I don't know, logically, and you guys are the experts, the HR expert. In my opinion, it should be just issue another change. I don't believe that should be a change anymore when it's all been approved and signed. I don't feel it makes sense to make it look like a change to that change. I would say just issue another change, and clearly that will take precedence. It's the last change, the last contract that you signed. In itself, it implies that. But I could be wrong. I would love feedback on that, guys.
Yeah, let us know, Mary, if that helps. Okay, and Samantha's jumped in. When the self-serve goes live, will the employee see that there are change of conditions pending approval against their profile, or will they remain unaware until the change of conditions is approved?
It's $1 million question. I haven't thought about it, but really we can navigate these things quite easily. I think you're right. If I don't know, first of all, legally or HR wise, I think it's okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just thinking myself as a manager, if I am talking to my respective manager about potentially increasing someone, yeah, I would like to have it approved before I even speak with the employee and get their hopes high. I think it's perfectly fine. And I think you're absolutely right. You don't want them to see it unless it's been approved by my respective manager, and then I'd be more than happy for them to see it, and I can sit down with them and tell them. And yeah, no, I think I agree with you. We will take care of that. Thank you for, a heads up in a sense.
Thanks, Samantha.
Yeah, it's a great heads up.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes left.
Oh, if we have 5 minutes, I was going to quickly run through some of the updates that we did and doing, if that's okay, guys. Although, this takes precedence, I'm so sorry, but just going to give you quick updates about things we've been working on. Can I do that without offending anyone?
Yeah, good to go.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So we have in here, it is a bit crowded, but I'll explain it. So this is the first, I'm sharing the wrong, so maybe I'll stop sharing and you can share the webinar, or yeah. All right, cool. Sorry guys, 1 second, you're going to see a boring PowerPoint basically slide, and then I'll take you through it. Nothing too exciting. Here we are. Okay, so we covered the change of staff condition. the data segregation. That is, as I call it, it's part of the ecosystem to make HR comfortable to allow the managers to submit those change condition requests by making sure the manager, when they come in, they can only access the data under them. So that's coming by Friday morning, Friday week. By Friday week, this will be pretty much a standard access policy for any hiring manager role, unless you deem you want to change it. Clearly, as you know, you can even customize your own role with our platform, very flexible. But by default, we feel from feedback from you guys, a hiring manager, which is, I'm referring to the actual role called hiring manager in our platform, yeah? So the standard hiring manager role, we believe that that should be the standard access policy for that role. Meaning when they go to the org chart, we recognize that this user is an employee in this org chart, and here's where they sit. They have a branch under them. They can only access the data in that branch, the nodes in that branch. Is that clear, guys? Cool. The next one is what's new, what we're working on, which is, this is really structured wrong. That is one of the things we're working on, the data segregation. The police check, this is pretty much open for business right now. And we've got about 15 clients that already signed the contract. What it is, in case you haven't done this before, ACIC, the Australian Criminal Intelligence body, they who own the police check and legally and everything, we have obligations with them that you guys, our respective clients, our clients, have to sign a contract with us, or primarily about handling of the data privacy. Really, if you look at the contract, the big thing from ACIC is that you understand your obligations about the privacy of those reports when you have them in your hand, and when to remove them if you download it. Although the cool thing about using it in Martial Logic, what we intend to do is not give you a reason to ever download it locally and be liable to something like that, because we want to make it so cool to share it. It'll always be in the screen. You're not downloading it. That means all that compliance is on us. So if ACIC says after 18 months needs to be deleted, I forgot now the rules, but whatever those compliance rules are, we will take care of them. You don't need to worry about it. You shouldn't have to feel the need to download it. It'll be all presented beautifully. You want to share it with a manager, you click on share, they get a link, nothing in the email, they click on the link, or again, it's a page, so no one is liable in your business with that stuff. That's part of the benefits of working with us. Nevertheless, I've probably gone off track a little bit. The police check is ready. If you want to use it, you need to get in touch. We will send you a contract, you sign it, and you can be up running with as soon as you sign it, pretty much. To be clearer and more honest, the process is you tell us you want to use it. At the same time, when we send you the contract, we send your information to ACIC. They have to even approve it. Oh my God, it's so stringent, so crazy. So they have to look at your company, your ABN, etc. Say, yep, cool, we approve this company of having access to the police check with Martial Logic. And then you would have signed the contract within that same time, a few days, and then we give you access to it. So get in touch. It'll take, let's say, a week and you'll be up and running. The second thing is position approval code. We've had this for the last few years in the org chart, but also even without the org chart on the request to hire. You guys said we need the code that creates a reference back to our finance system or something, where the executive team have approved the extension of the budget to hire, 4.5 FTE, a bunch of people in certain position, etc. You want all these hires to be linking to this exact approval code, if I may call it. So now we took it seriously, more than just a little custom field that you can create. It's a system field. We take it seriously, that can be available for you in the org chart. It can be even part of the import when you import your data. Or you do it manually as you go, and that will automatically be part of the request to hire. It'll flow everywhere, and we will be able to very soon enforce that. So if this reference, one of the properties of that code is to be, let's say, 4.5 FTE, that means when you start to hire multiple people against this requisition, we stop you when you go beyond the 4.5 FTE. So it's a very intelligent piece, not just anymore a piece of text. We've begun that. We've created the first foundation of it, and we'll start to do bells and whistles because of that now. So that's available now. The hierarchical is a mistake. What I meant to say is the data segregation based on the hierarchy. So it's the same point that we discussed before for the managers, not to see their peers and people above them, or the data belong to them. Then the special code I touched on before at the beginning, but there's only a few people on the call. Google have launched a new initiative to compete in the job search market, not only to show you the link coming from Seek or whatever, or in LinkedIn. They want to have their own job board. So they want to, when they scrape your career site, they want to get this data into their own engine and display it as if it's from the Google job board. So what they want to do that, they want us to create special code in the HTML. This is, you don't even know this change happened. In the page of the job ad, we create special code metadata for Google to understand that data in a structured way, to be beyond any doubt that this is the position name. Sorry, this is the job title. Sorry. And this is the location, if there's a salary information, etc. So we're giving them that in a very clear way according to their structure. So they can now get clean data from your job board and list it on their so-called job board that they're launching now to compete with, I guess, LinkedIn and Seek and Indeed and all that. So we'll see if that starts to deliver some free application for you guys. Why not? We'll see how good they can execute this. And there was an issue on the e-forms. If somebody requires, they rely on their browser to translate the questions, it wasn't working properly, we fixed that. So if anybody's got foreign workers that are, non-English speaking, or that's not their first language, and they rely on that will work now beautifully in any browser. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. And that concludes what I would like to share with you, but I'm more than available still for even the next half an hour if you want. If you have any questions, it doesn't even have to be pertaining to what we covered, anything to do at all with the platform. While you've got me as well, if anybody doesn't feel supported enough, if you feel your implementation wasn't great and maybe you need a bit of a refresher, please get in touch. I will get someone to call you and set up a whole hour with you and your team. If you are an existing client, you feel you would like that kind of refresher, please get in touch. So any feedback to me, contact me directly on my mobile number or on my email, Anwar@MartialLogic. If you have feedback, anything that you feel that we need to improve on, please call me. I know we're not perfect. We're trying our best, and we love you guys and love the technology and all that, but we're not perfect. I'm sure we sometimes make mistakes, not even realizing we're doing it. So please get in touch.